employees don't do those extra things. They're not thinking about the big picture of the team. They're not thinking about the goals for themselves. They're not thinking about how that aligns with the vision of the company. So a team member thinks about, what is the vision? How do I contribute? How do I show up in an impactful way?
You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question: what has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, the author of How to Hire the Best, and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host, Mike Bruno, and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. At Tap the Potential, we know you're longing to be freed from the constant demands of your business. You need a business that supports your life. And the problem is your business is taking over your life, leaving you frustrated and discouraged. We get it. At Tap the Potential, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. We understand you're paying a team, and most likely you're still having to do it all. There should be accountability. It should not be this hard, which is why, through our proprietary coaching system, we help thousands of business owners like you have more time for what's important to them and grow profit by 300 to 800%. Here's how we do it. Start by taking our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. You'll get an overview of your current quality of life as it relates to your business and next steps needed in your business to improve your quality of life while strengthening your business. Next, meet with our success team lead to debrief your results. Then, join our Better Business, Better Life program. By the end of your first year with us, you will have more time for what matters to you and more money in your bank account than you've ever had before. So, if you're ready to take your life back, the next step is to take our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. Profit designers, at Tap the Potential, we are on a mission right now to be a positive force in social media during trying times for all of us entrepreneurs. In that regard, I would love it if you could help us out. We really want to get behind any of you who are doing good things in your communities, showing up and leading with love. If you are doing something to keep your team together during this time and you're sharing it in social media, or you come across another entrepreneur who is being a gift from their gift in some way that you notice, please use the hashtags Lead with Love and Be a Gift. Our team at Tap the Potential is on the lookout in social media for those hashtags, and we will be reposting those social media posts from the Tap the Potential social media. Let's all lead with love, be a gift, and shine bright during these trying times.
Welcome, Dr. Sabrina. How are you?
I'm great, Stacey. It's good to be back here with you for another conversation about how to hire the best.
Well, I've been looking forward to this one. So I think we're finding a rhythm with this new style of conversation.
Absolutely. I just want to say, as we're going through these different chapters in the new How to Hire the Best, the Entrepreneur's Ultimate Guide to Attracting Top Performing Team Members. So this book is for entrepreneurs who are ready to build their business that is sustainable, that's profitable, and that gives them a life. And I know you and I are going to get into wins, and so I'm just really eager to share. I have 2 wins today.
Okay. What are your wins?
My first win in relation to the book is we have a really handy tool ready to go, and you don't even have to buy the book to access this tool. So we've created a quiz for entrepreneurs who have spent a lot of time and energy building their business from the ground up. They've bootstrapped it to the point, and it's getting to be sustainable, and you're feeling the need to hire, and you're wondering, Should I hire? Am I ready to hire? And you have all those fears around hiring. And that's what I hear so much out there. And you do too, Stacey, from entrepreneurs is, I really don't want to bring any team members in. I've had bad experiences in the past, or I'm afraid I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to bring somebody in who's going to just mess everything up and mess, up what I've created. And so this quiz is designed to help you identify if you're ready to hire. And then when you take the quiz, you're going to get customized feedback about how to simplify your hiring journey and make it stress-free to onboard the A players for your business. So the quiz is available at howtohirethebest.com/quiz. And I can't wait for our profit designers to start taking this quiz and getting feedback. And I want to hear, as you all take this quiz, what it's helping you with and what your ahas are as you take the quiz. So I want to invite that discussion. If you're in our ambassador group on Facebook, you can share it there in the How to Hire the Best ambassador group. Or if you're in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group, you can share it there. And if you want to find out how to get into the ambassador group for How to Hire the Best, just go to howtohirethebest.com and we have all the details there. So that's a big win. But the other win is what I was getting to do before I came and met with you for this podcast recording. So I was sitting by the pool outside on an October day. The sun is shining. It is in the 70s here in Louisiana. It's a beautiful Friday. And I am reading a really cool book by the pool. It's The 4-Week Vacation. This is my book, and I'm doing an editing pass. And this is the book that's coming out in the fall, probably of 2021. And I'm reading it, and I'm trying to read it with fresh eyes, like someone who's never encountered the material before, and it's totally new. And I'm having all kinds of aha moments and insights around what it means to really get out of burnout, and how when entrepreneurs are building these sustainably profitable businesses and hiring A players, how it just really shifts what's possible for us entrepreneurs. So I just had that feeling of, oh my gosh, this book is real. It's going to be out there and it's going to help.
That is a major, wonderful deal, because I know you've been working on this for at least 4 years, and that you had some other obligations, or the other How to Hire the Best books had to come first before you could get to this one. So I am ecstatic that you had something physical to actually read. That's really cool.
Thank you. And what are your wins?
So I have been taking the Squad Alpha version of John Bates's How to Write a TED Talk, and I'm making some significant progress with, I'm going to share this very vulnerably, Dr. Sabrina, because it came up yesterday, so it's just on our mind. So let me just not beat around the bush. But when it comes to doing live videos in a room where I'm the trainer, what's a webinar, or I have to do a Loom video, I cannot do this. I just can't. I'm like a cat being dunked in water. It is so excruciating. And it's not a fear thing. I'm not afraid of it because I'm on the camera all day long. So it doesn't make any sense to me that this is a problem. But there's something that John said in his training, and he didn't say it directly to me, so I heard it secondhand. It is trust that what you have to share is meaningful, impactful, and will connect. And so that's been on my mind a lot lately. And I tried for the first time in 2 years to do a Loom video as a Tap the Potential team member. So I made some progress. I ran into some significant technology challenges and had to get some help with it, and I was not able to complete it, but I am making a little headway in whatever it is that is blocking me from being able to do this thing that would be so valuable if I could. And your eyes are getting really big as I'm telling you this.
I'm so happy that you're making progress with this, because you do have so much to share and teach. And I've been wanting you to make videos for our clients for a long time. And so it's really just exciting that you're on this journey and doing this. And I want to take a moment and do a little teaching moment for our profit designers around the power of yet. So I heard you saying, I can't. And I want to invite you to shift that to, I'm not able to do this yet.
I think it's more of I'm not willing to do it yet, but I take your point and I am still unable to do it, but I continue to try and to find ways and to figure it out. And so part of what I'm learning through this process of creating this TED-worthy talk, not that I intend to be a TED speaker, but just being able to find your voice and know what it is, where you are in purpose or in your own purpose, what impact you can have when you are in that place, working from your strengths, working from a place of extraordinary competency, I guess is the way to say it, how to solve these other issues. Disconnecting the thing for me this week is another win. Disconnecting the task and the process from the results that you're trying to achieve. And as a business owner, as just a person going through life the best they can, like when you can do that, when you're able to disconnect, I have to do this and I have to do this and it has to be this way, to this is the result I'm trying to create. What do I need? What support do I need? What do I need to accomplish it? Then you open yourself up for greater possibility and impact. So that's what's on my mind.
Absolutely. Those are some big aha moments there, Stacey. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I want to give a shout out to John Bates and the course. I'm taking this course in December because I want to work on my TED-worthy talk on work supports life for 2021. And we'll link to his course in the show notes. John Bates has been a keynote speaker for us, a VIP keynote speaker for us at the Breakthroughs retreats. He's been twice. And our Breakthroughs retreat participants learn so much from him. He's got a lot to teach us about finding our voice and communicating powerfully, impactfully, in an authentic way.
Been a game changer. So yeah, happy about that.
Yes. All right. So we're here to talk about Chapter 5.
All right. So Chapter 5, I want to start with a big question that really came out of our conversation the last time, and I didn't get to ask it there, but I think it's the perfect intro question for today. And that is the transition that I'm aware of you made from employees referring to hiring the best as employees to referring to us as team members. So what caused that shift?
Yeah, so the first two How to Hire the Best books, there's a lot of reference to employees. It's even on the subtitles. And in this one, it's not employees. I think we took every reference to employee out. There may be one or two that got accidentally overlooked, but we use team member. And I actually, my computer autocorrects every time I type employee, it autocorrects now to team member because I set that little shortcut up. So, and it's a shift though. It's a mindset shift. An employee is someone who you give a paycheck to and you assign things to get done. And we are all about building great places to work in teams and attracting A players. So A players don't want to be employees. They want to be team members. They want to be valued for their contribution. They want to be actively contributing to the team. You, Stacey, wanting to work on your ability to teach on video is an A player mentality. It's something that you recognize would be the next level for you. And you're challenging yourself to do this. And not only are you challenging yourself to do it, you're taking a course and you're putting a lot of intention around this. So that's not something an employee does. Employees don't do those extra things. They're not thinking about the big picture of the team. They're not thinking about the goals for themselves. They're not thinking about how that aligns with the vision of the company. So a team member thinks about, what is the vision? How do I contribute? How do I show up in an impactful way? And so I wanted to make a strong shift from talking about employees to talking about team members, because that's really what all of us want. We don't want employees. We want team members.
That's awesome. When I talk with business owners about the difference between accounting for your taxes at the end of the year and it all being historic and getting ahead of your finances and coming from a place of decision making, it is really about making that switch from this is a business decision, how we're going to operate our business, versus this is how we're going to account for it from a tax perspective. So we're not changing the rules. We're just choosing to make decisions that are in the best interest of the business and the vision and what we're trying to accomplish. And we do both. We can't do one without the other.
That right there is what this is all about. Everything that we teach at Tap the Potential and the Better Business, Better Life program is about being very intentional with our choices and our strategy and our actions and aligning everything in the business in an intentional way and being more conscious of the decisions we make. Don Zerbe's statement about the victims of our decisions has been reverberating in my head every day since he said that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so I listened to that. It was a fantastic podcast, and I am so aware of the way we built our private investigative company was upside down, so that every decision had to funnel through us as the business owners, and really my ex-partner as the business owners. Every decision had to go through him. And if we had built it as a pyramid this way and with the foundation at the bottom, we would have been significantly more successful, impactful, had a better working environment, had a better lifestyle if we had switched that. Instead, I noticed pacing the floor from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. is a lifestyle. And that's not, it has a benefit, definitely, because you can choose where you are when you're pacing the floor, but you're still pacing the floor, handling the same problems you've been handling for the last 15 years.
Right. And another comment along those lines that Don made on that episode is he talked about sleepless Sundays and how upsetting it is every Sunday to plan for the week ahead and you don't know what's coming your way. Eric Cobb picked up on that and he said he was so grateful for Don for sharing that. He recognized himself in that, and it gave him hope to hear Don sharing his journey of hiring the best, and now he's working on his 4-week vacation. And
that's awesome.
That's really what How to Hire the Best is all about, is getting these A-player team members so that it's not all on us business owners, and we're building a business, an entity that the team members can make the decisions.
That's awesome. So I want to start with, or the next thing I want to talk to you about is being the leader you need to be, Sabrina, because that's where it all begins. If you can't be the leader that the company needs you to be, then that's your sticking point. So what does that mean to you, being a leader?
So, there's lots of ways to lead. And if we want a business that gives us our life back, we need to think about the type of leader we need to be to have a business that gives us our life back. And there's no greater self-development program than being in small business, because it's going to push us to grow. And our businesses, the extent to which they grow, reflect how much we grow as individuals. So a lot of what we're doing with our clients in the Better Business, Better Life program at Tap the Potential is working with them on their being, who they are at their core. And I think about clients who come in and we're asking them to make changes in how they do things and letting go of responsibilities and delegating and all the gremlins that come up around that, the fears of letting go of responsibility. And what if someone screws that up? So if we don't work on those gremlins and get that business owner into a place of confidence and trust, then those business owners will continually undermine. I used to do it. I undermined myself all over the place when I would try to think about what can I let go of and what am I not willing to let go of. And just the other day, I had a moment of doubt about something at Tap the Potential, and I shared it with a confidant, and he said to me, "Have you hired A players?" Yes. Do they have a clearly defined goal? Yes. Do they know their mission and the core value? Yes. And they know the result that you're after? Yes. And he said, just let it go. It's going to be okay. And sure enough, the next day I got an update from our team on this particular project. And I was like, whoa, I'm so glad I didn't stick my fingers in there and start poking around and asking questions, because I would have taken them off track. They would have sensed my crisis of confidence and it could have just unraveled from there. So that's the being. We have to work on our being the leader we need to be to have team members who will take things and run. And another way this comes up is if we start questioning the decisions and actions of our team members, they sense our concern and they will quickly go back to, I need to run everything by Dr. Sabrina again. And that's exactly what we've put a lot of intention around in the last year and a half, is when Dr. Sabrina's not around, decisions get made without her. And we want that to happen regardless of whether I'm here or not. And so I have to be very careful about questioning actions and decisions, and only check when when it's clear something is not going right. And we have checks and balances in place that we're strengthening in our system. So this ties to being the leader we need to be. And the other part about being the leader we need to be is that we need to take responsibility for creating the vision for the company. And creating a vision is something that a lot of us say, I have a vision statement. It's like 1 or 2 sentences. Is that good enough? No, it's not. And if we don't articulate in great detail what our vision is for the company and take the time to really think through what that vision is going to be and express it to our team members, we won't have the business we want to have. The business will not grow. So it's working on ourselves. A lot of our clients in the Better Business, Better Life program refer to developing their EQ and say that we're helping them to develop their emotional intelligence, understanding that different people on the team have different personalities, different strengths, different ways of communicating, and that we need to build these diverse teams, diverse in terms of, and that's typically thought of in terms of like ethnicity. I'm talking about that, and I'm talking about diversity with respect to personality strengths and perspectives and backgrounds, because we will make better decisions as a team when we have that diversity and we're tapping into it.
Right. So I want to connect a dot to our participants in the Leadership Bootcamp, which is an offering to our Better Business, Better Life group members for their team members to develop them into the leaders within the company. And you tell a story about how you are on the people map type, you are leader task, and you've deliberately surrounded yourself with free spirit people or free spirit task in order to help you think beyond what you can see on your own. And so I think that's one way. What are some of the other ways to enhance that diversity?
It's really about getting different backgrounds on our team. We really try to hire entrepreneurs as strategists, because it's important that our strategists who work with our clients understand the entrepreneurial journey and the struggle. And we have that on our team, and we have quite a variety of backgrounds. We have people who've worked in corporate settings. We have people who've worked in small business. We have people who have won awards for all kinds of things. And it just creates such a rich discussion when we talk about different issues on our team and make decisions. I oftentimes am blown away by things that get brought up that I'd never given any thought to. And I think to myself, wow, what if we had made this decision without that voice being in the room? What would we have missed?
That's important. So, and that's a powerful question. What is possible? What would we miss if we didn't take the time to get input and made the decision too quickly and took action too fast?
Which is what most of us do as entrepreneurs. We want to move things along, and so we make these fast decisions. And sometimes, a lot of times, they're not the best decisions.
You get me thinking on that. Yeah. So in thinking about team development and developing people I know that your company title is Tap the Potential. That's something you're passionate about doing, seeing and recognizing and developing the potential in the people around you, not just your team members and people who work for you, but in other relationships. So it's a natural skill. And I wonder, sometimes because you recognize that you are developing that talent, there's a patience to let things continue, knowing that it's not working ideally, and it's something that you have a great deal of patience around. So I want to speak to that. And then there's another aspect of this I want to talk to.
So that's a really important piece, because we are all on a journey of self-development. And I recognize, like, I think about you when you came in as an apprentice strategist, and there were things that they were rough. It was an area that you had lacked some experience and knowledge. And that's the point of creating our apprentice strategist program, is to provide that training and get you there. And so it would have been very detrimental to your growth if I pushed on those areas. And I would just purposely allow you to experience something, and you would come back to our one-to-one and you would talk about it and we would talk through it. And I don't want to say at all that I'm perfect. I know a lot of times I would say, Stacey, what about this? Would you try this? And you'd push back, because that is what we all do when someone gives advice. That's why advice giving doesn't work. And I noticed if I would just ask you, what you tried and what do you want to try? How do you want to work on this next? You would get there, but it's not a direct path. So, and this is what we have to remember when we're bringing in team members, is we're hiring for people who have A-player qualities. And it's much better to hire for A-player qualities and fit with immutable laws than it is to hire for skill set. Skill sets can be trained and developed and nurtured, but you cannot turn somebody into an A-player with training. That doesn't happen. And so when we teach coach approach to our clients in the Better Business, Better Life program and their team members, a lot of coach approach is about asking the powerful questions that get the team members thinking on their own. So just that place of being patient and creating the space for someone to think things through on their own, and not come back to next week's one-to-one with everything neatly tied up in a bow. And I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to be the perfect solution and it's going to go for it. There's messiness in this whole process. And that's why one of our immutable laws at Tap the Potential is mistakes are learning opportunities. So when things don't go right, we look at what can we learn from this? How can we be better next time because of this? And I think I think it's so important for us to not beat ourselves up over mistakes. We need to accept responsibility. We need to see, what can we learn from this and how can we make it better? But the beating ourselves up or allowing someone else to beat us up over mistakes is not okay. It's not productive. If a team member who is an A player has made a mistake, letting them go into that place of, and this reminds me of a conversation we had with our clients in the Better Business, Better Life program, allowing a team member to go into a place of, I'm terrible, I'm such a bad employee, and all that.
Yes.
Is so unproductive.
Well, and that's a defense mechanism. I know personally, I've used it as a defense mechanism. It's a teenage response. You're right. I'm horrible. I can't do this. And it's a way not to have a crucial conversation. And that's how we get out of certain things. That is not necessarily productive. And if we can come at things from a yes and then from an energy leadership perspective, that's what I've been working on. And what do I want instead? What will help me move towards our ultimate goal and our vision? And that allows me to come from a greater place of choice. And then I can see opportunities and potential where I couldn't see because I was stuck in a different role in whatever that situation is. I was stuck in the situation in particular thinking. So, yeah.
So and I want to just highlight what you said. It's about thinking, what do I want instead? So instead of saying, I don't want this or I don't like this, the question underneath that is, well, what do you want instead? What does that look like? And sometimes that's really hard to articulate or even envision what that other thing is. And so when you're talking to your team members about that, I want to invite you to be patient with them and continue to come back to that question. And so when we're doing these one-to-ones with team members, we need to be tracking where the mental blocks are coming up and asking, what do you want instead? And being able to come back to it and be patient with that process of self-discovery.
Being patient with that process, are there limitations to that? Like, how, I know that we deal with this question all the time with our Better Business, Better Life group members. How do I know when it is an A player mentality or not an A player mentality? Or is it a system that I need to create, or do my systems need to function better for this particular employee? Or is it a skill set that just that employee shouldn't be doing and I have to shift where they are? How do we distinguish between those?
Yeah. So what we don't want to create is allowing dysfunction to live in our businesses for an indefinite period of time, because it's very detrimental to ourselves, to the team, to our clients. And so if you have an A player on your team, when you give feedback, you will see the A player's performance improve, and it'll be a fairly steady upward improvement with a little bit of slide back, because that's just normal, but overall a forward upward trajectory. So if someone's not an A player and you give performance feedback, you will see a spike in improvement and slide back. If feedback again and you see spike in improvement and slide back. And it's not an upward trajectory. It's kind of like up, down, and really you're getting nowhere. So at that point, that's not someone who's coachable, and A players are coachable. So that's not someone you want on your team when they're not coachable. And then the other thing is, once you've identified that, yes, you have an A player on your team, the next thing to look at is not pointing fingers at the person for screwing up, but looking at asking them, tell me about the challenges that happened for you in dealing with this situation. And oftentimes that gets to systems, that there's a gap in our systems somewhere. And so we want to take the mistakes that are happening and look at how can we strengthen our systems. If we are going to prevent a mistake like this in the future, how are we going to strengthen our systems? For A players, that is very freeing, because now the entire team can go to work on making things better. And there's a lot of energy, from an energy leadership point, there's a lot of energy when we are shifting to how do we make it better, from, oh, I'm so terrible, I screwed up. Nothing great happens from, I'm so terrible, I screwed up.
Yeah, you're not going very far from that place if you stay stuck in it. Yeah, so that's really helpful, actually. And it gets me thinking about so many things. Some other things that you talk about in this particular chapter are going deeper with the vision, creating immutable laws, creating that culture. And we talked about that a little bit in chapter 4, and we've been talking about it all along because it's very high on everyone's minds towards the end of the year anyway. It's a good review time to be looking at what is your mission, vision, and what are your immutable laws? How are they showing up for you? So what's important for us to know today about creating culture this way?
What's important to know is that we want to be very intentional about the culture we create in our businesses. And it starts with who we are as the business owner, how we show up. The things that drive us crazy in our business are reflections of our own Achilles heels. And so from a psychological standpoint, one of the things we do when we don't like something about ourselves is we project it onto others. So when we are upset about something going on in our business, it is the easiest place for us to project what we don't like about ourselves. So a question to ask is, what am I frustrated right now about in my business? And if I were to own that quality in myself, what would it look like? Stacey, your eyes look like they're about to bug out.
Yeah, I just had that, holy S moment. Like, what do you mean I have to own that in myself?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So the things that we complain about in others, that drive us crazy in others, live within us. And usually they're not resolved within us. And so when we're going to work on being the leaders we need to be, we need to own it. And we need to say, okay, if that's going on in my business and I'm upset with this team member for acting in that way, what nerve is that hitting for me and about my behavior and my choices and how I handle things?
Okay, if I were to ask myself that question, I'm not sure that I would have an answer. So that kind of makes me wonder about tolerance. What am I tolerating and accepting in myself and in others that is not working for me, but working against me?
Which is a very powerful question for our profit designers. What are you tolerating that is no longer working for you?
How do I figure that out, Sabrina? What is not working for me? Because I think genuinely, I like my life. I'm pretty happy with what I've got. I'm grateful for the things that I have. Am I where I want to be? No. Do I want to go backwards? No. But I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at right now, and everything is fine. So how do I know if I'm bumping up against something that's really not working for me when I'm pretty satisfied with what I've got?
For me, it's paying attention to my energy. And this is something I've developed. I don't want to imply that I've always been good at this, because it's not been something I've been good at, particularly for much of my life, because I've tolerated a lot in my life. When I look back, I'm 48 years old. I look back on 48 something years. I think about, wow, I've put up with a lot. Life would have been very different had I not done that. And so I think we always have places in our life where we tolerate things, where things are okay. And we tell ourselves we're content, and it's not a place where we get energy. So those places where we feel our energy going down throughout the day, maybe it's a particular person that we're interacting with in our life where our energy goes down and dealing with them. Maybe it is a project at work where we notice our energy goes down around this project. It's wherever those low points are with our energy. That's a place to ask a question of, why am I doing this? Why am I tolerating this? If I stop tolerating this, what would that be like? And how might my life be different if I made a decision that I wasn't going to have this situation or this person in my life anymore? What possibilities open up? And if we go quickly to, well, how do I get out of this situation, or how do I get out of having to deal with this person? We're in the how, and that's not productive. So it's much more effective to look at what possibilities open up when I decide I'm not going to tolerate this anymore.
So that how question can be both opening and limiting. That's what I hear you saying. And then if I say, how am I going to get from here to there? Then we limit what our choices are. But there are times where how is exactly the right question.
Yeah, but we don't want to start with how.
Okay.
We want to start with what. So what do I want instead? What possibilities open if I no longer tolerate this? We need to define those possibilities. And that gets to clearly articulating our vision and being intentional about our making choices that align with the vision. And, we think about our survival trap image, and we'll link to that in our show notes. You have a destination in mind. And once you have that destination in mind, all kinds of opportunities come along to help you achieve that or move that way. And we want to be evaluating which opportunity is most aligned with getting us to that vision. So oftentimes the how gets taken care of for us once we clarify the vision. But if we jump prematurely to how, we never really define what we're going after. And then we end up someplace different than where we wanted to be in the first place.
That's interesting. So knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want is often our starting place. Well, I don't want this, and I don't want this, and I don't want this. But the way I talk with people is our subconscious doesn't know the difference between do and don't.
Right.
So if I say what I don't want, guess what I get more of? More of what I don't want. And
what we focus on grows.
Very true.
So, your big question about be the leader you need to be, that really means we have to look at all aspects of our life and how we are showing up everywhere. Because, and you've said this just the other day, how we do one thing is how we do everything.
Yes, 100%.
And so one of the topics we're going to get into later in the year when we talk about our strategic planning for 2021, you and I are going to talk about the wheel of life and the different aspects of our life. And we give ourselves a rating of 0 to 10 in terms of our satisfaction with these different areas of our lives. Well, what's interesting is if we're giving ourselves a rating of satisfaction of 2 in our personal finances, and, we rate our business as a 7 and we rate health and wellness as a 5, whatever, the lower ratings on that wheel will pull down our experience in every other area of our life. So we have to look at, okay, if I'm giving myself a 7 on the business, but a 2 in personal finances and a 5 on health and well-being, what is it that I'm doing in my business that I'm not doing elsewhere in my life? Because the strengths that we're showing up with that are creating satisfaction in one area can be brought into these other areas of our lives. That's really what it means, that being an entrepreneur is the greatest self-development journey we can ever put ourselves on, because we can look at areas where we're succeeding and use strengths and use skills from those areas and apply it in other areas of our lives and increase our overall life satisfaction. With COVID, one of the challenges that's out there is that we have entrepreneurs who have had stress. I mean, just one thing after another has been stressful for people this year. And so that brings our energy down. We show up as leaders in our businesses with this lower energy. And we're putting that out there and we're getting it fed back to us by our team, because the fish stinks from the head down. And so we want to be very aware of how we are living our life as a leader, because that's going to translate into how the business runs.
That is very powerful. And I wonder if it causes people to shy away from that inquiry. We'll call it an inquiry, because they don't know how to go through that process of examining.
That's why we do what we do at Tap the Potential in our Better Business, Better Life program. It really is about, let's make a better business and a better life for the entrepreneur, and guiding that journey of self-discovery and how am I showing up in my personal life because of my business. We have spouses, we have kids who comment that they don't see their parents because their parents are working 70, 80 hours a week. They come home, they're on their cell phones. They're not present with a family. So that is that unhealthy intersection of business taking over life. And so when we intentionally build a life, and we throw out the phrase, like, take our lives back, get a life. There's a reason for that, because the bigger our lives become, the more effective we become as leaders in our business.
The bigger our life becomes, the more effective we become as leaders in our business. I have to think about that. That's a thinker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The more we are away from the business, the more we're developing ourselves. And this applies not just to the business owner, for team members too. When we have lives away from the business, we are better in how we show up at work.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And I think in other places that I've experienced, that has not been valued. And I'm thinking about my corporate experiences where, it's first in, 7 a.m., you got to beat the boss, and you're the last to leave because that's what looks good. And that's not necessarily, I think you're changing the conversation from hours of butts and seats to how can I be more effective in the time that I have? How can I be the most effective at what I'm doing in the time that I have, realizing there's only 168 hours a week. And how do you want to be spending that time?
Yes.
What's important to you? And coming from a place of choice. What am I choosing and what am I giving up that I would rather have without even thinking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aware of our time. And one of the things we decided at the beginning of this is we were going to do a hard stop so you could take a break before you go into an important meeting. So I want you to have lunch. So as we wrap up, along the lines of what you were just sharing, I want to share what came out of Leadership Boot Camp yesterday when a team member in one of our clients' businesses said he had an aha moment once he had a better understanding of the business sweet spot. He realized why ideas that he had been putting forward were not moving forward in the business. It had been a point of frustration previously because he's a problem solver by nature.
Yes.
He was solving problems all over the place, and the rest of the team was just kind of like dismissing it and not putting intention in that area. And his epiphany in Leadership Boot Camp was I was solving problems that have nothing to do with the sweet spot. It was not a good use of my time. So he had that aha moment about it's not about how many problems I solve, because there's problems everywhere in a business, especially a growing small business. Yes, it's about picking the problems to solve that are going to have the greatest impact, especially around serving the top clients of the business.
Yeah.
So on that note, Stacey, I think you and I should wrap up here. And we went deep today, and I think our designers probably are having some aha moments and questions, things that you're thinking, wow, I wish Sabrina and Stacey would elaborate more on this. This has got me puzzled. So I want to invite you into our Facebook group, our Profit by Design podcast Facebook group, and share your aha moments and questions with us.
That sounds great. Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you, Stacey.
If your business is taking over your life and you're ready to take your life back, Tap the Potential's Better Business, Better Life program could be just what you're looking for. By the end of your first year in our program, you will have more time for what matters to you and more money in your bank account than ever. Get started. Take our assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. Share your thoughts on today's episode, ask us questions, and let us know what you want to hear about next. Visit our website at profitbydesignpodcast.com to access resources from our sponsors and tools we've created for you. Subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to right now. There's a subscribe button right there. Go ahead and hit it so that you always get a notification when we release a new episode. And finally, share our podcast with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. Thanks again for listening. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.